Welcome back once again to the Pitlane Pals Formula One podcast. In this episode, we are reviewing the snooze fest that was the Japanese Grand Prix. I don't even know why we're making an episode right now. I could just act like that race didn't happen and go on with my life. That was a absolute boring race. And I think actually I want to get into some topics about what's the problem with F1 right now regarding some of these races. Suzuka used to be a very good racetrack, and in recent years it just hasn't been. But we're going to get into that a little later. First and foremost, Max Verstappen in a dominant performance wins the Japanese Grand Prix. I got a little confused with my accent. The Japanese Grand Prix. The Japanese Grand Prix. By granted a fine margin, a very slim. I can't speak today. Holy shit! I gotta wake up right now. A very slim margin, and but it was just a train. The whole race was a train from front to end. Yeah. Not very entertaining.
Nothing
in that regard.
Happened.
And
no, it was horrible.
Yeah, and it begs the question, why McLaren let it be that way? Because I feel like they didn't have to let it be a train. Now, get the elephant in the room out of the way. A lot of people, and I'm sorry, I'm going to say this with a little bit of anger, because F1 Twitter in particular might be the worst community of Formula One fans on the planet.
Like, I'm not on F1 Twitter, so you have to explain this to me.
It's where I see a lot of my discourse. I thought about at one point, when we have like a week off from a race, we should just make a stupid F1 tweets video or a podcast or something, because it is abysmal over there. But yeah, I get why on paper you may think that Piastri should have passed Norris. But when everybody from at McLaren, the data, and the commentators on the race are all saying, no, I'm not going to listen to the F1 Twitter fans on their opinion. Andrea Stella came on an interview and said that Norris just was faster. And based on what we know about how McLaren works, if Piastri wanted to, he could have passed.
Exactly.
If he got Norris.
There was not a single radio call where they were like, Piastri, please do not overtake Norris. Please stay behind Norris. Exactly. Not a single one. If he would have wanted to overtake, he could have.
Exactly. Just a very I don't want to say slightly ignorant thing. Like, it's just like, let's be real. It's like, we know how the McLaren team works at this point. Zach Brown has said time and time again to start the year that they're free to race. Papaya rules, just don't crash into each other. Just don't crash. So, considering also on top of that, if you think, well, why he looked quicker, why didn't he get past him then? And nobody could pass anybody the whole race. Yeah. So he couldn't get past him. Yeah. One DRS zone on a bunch of medium speed corners. It doesn't make for great racing with the modern car. And yeah, it was just like this very weird discourse. I think I get the frustration, but you could say, okay, let Piastri pass just because, let's see, maybe he can get Max if Norris isn't doing it. But if he can't get past Norris, how is he going to get past Max? So I just don't see the drama as worth it.
Yeah. No, it really isn't. And I feel like it's the same thing every weekend. It's like, somehow, how can we make this situation between Lando and Piastri any sort of worse? Because, like, I mean, they literally go out of the car. They had the podium. And nothing looked like anything had even happened. Like, we're all here watching the race, and we're like, oh my God, let him pass. And starting to comment on Twitter about how they should let them pass. And they get out of the car and nothing even happened, because it's clear. If he would have wanted to pass, he could have passed.
He could have. He definitely could have.
And, like, no one told him not to pass.
It's just it's frustrating.
I mean, they're not gonna interchange the positions, because they especially don't want to choose sides. You can't on one hand not want them to choose a side, but but then expect for them to choose a side in those situations. You can't have both worlds. So we have to have, okay, let them race, let them do their thing. If they're going to be fighting, Papaya Rules, just don't bin it, basically. But you can't do 50-50. And that's exactly what went wrong the last season. That's exactly what was criticized in Hungary. Because sometimes they do that, sometimes they do this. It's not going to work. And at the end of the day, it's going to look like one of them is in favor. So it's...
Again, I think unless...
you either do it or you don't do it.
Yeah, I think it's like last year we said that they should have prioritized Norris more. But that's latter half of the season, championship battle in line. Then you do it, yes. Even if it was Piastri ahead, I'd say the same thing. Whoever's ahead latter half of the season, if you're fighting with Max, whoever was Max, let's then world championship driver matters.
Exactly, and they're so close together. Like Piastri and Norris are pretty close in the standings. It would actually not even make sense for them to choose any sides right now, because I mean, when they're in the when it's constructor championship on the line or driver championship on the line, okay, choose a side. But it's not like that. This is the third race we've had. Let them race. Let them do their thing. Let's just stay calm.
Agreed.
Everything's fine.
Agreed.
We got a lot of race to go. Yeah.
And on top of that, we had one interesting thing happen the entire race. One moment, you would have blinked and you would have missed it. Lando Norris went grass cutting. Now this was something I don't know what that was. I don't know where he thought he was going with the car there. I can't wrap my head around it. I'm happy they decided no penalty for anybody. It shouldn't have been.
It shouldn't have been.
But I just can't wrap my head around the thought process behind that move. Like, I get the adrenaline. You're just like, oh, I can get him. I'm on it. I'm side by side, a little bit behind.
Yeah.
I'm on his side. And you just press the accelerator and just go straight onto the grass. And I don't know if you saw, well, one, it was a little weird for Norris to come on the radio and be like, he pushed me off. No.
Yeah.
Max was going in a straight line. He didn't
you
even
were both going in a straight line.
Yeah, he didn't even turn his wheel.
I feel like what happened was, right, because obviously the pressure was high. He was catching up to Max, and they had a great pit stop. It was really close. So they go next to each other, right? And Norris is like, okay, shit, we can actually make this work. Okay, out of the pit box now. Got to get onto it. And then they're like going, and I guess he forgot that there's grass. Because on some pit lanes, there's just tarmac, right?
Right.
So I guess he must have not thought about it. Because, I mean, at the same time, then obviously the better idea would have been slow down a bit, get behind him, and then he's quicker. He maybe even could have overtook the guy, but we didn't know that. Didn't happen. I think that's what happened initially. I just think it's just in the situation, it happened so quickly.
Yeah.
And then you just come on and you're like, he pushed me wide.
That was the part where I was like, all right, dude.
Yeah.
Again, I know it's the adrenaline though, the situation. Yeah. It's just a little funny. It's a little, I don't know, a little.
You know what made this race even worse though? Because we were watching this together, right?
Yeah.
And
oh my God.
I thought since I'm not in the German commentary anymore, and I'm now watching with Caden together, the English commentary, I thought this is gonna be amazing. This is great. Not the biggest fan of the German commentators. And then you just have
Jacques Villeneuve, the legend. It's like, he's not normally number 2. Like, I've seen him sometimes, but
I saw a lot of posts about this, and I actually sent you a few of them. It was so bad. Like, it was so bad. It was to a point where I thought the other commentator, Crofty, started getting pissed off with him for a bit, because whatever Crofty said, he always knew better. Always. He was always like, no, it's like this and this and this and this.
Yeah.
It was like anything he did, he said, Villeneuve knew better. It was just so.
I saw a really funny tweet that said that Crofty and Villeneuve mix like oil and water.
Yeah.
Like, it just wasn't working. Like they were just talking
Not
at
at
each
all.
other.
Yeah.
Like they weren't even having a discussion at any point in the race. And I love Crofty. There people think, some people think he should go. I like him personally. I think he
I like
adds.
him as well.
I think when it comes to like the heat of the moment, the race is on the line, he knows how to make it sound dramatic, and I love that. But this conversation was just, oh, maybe this, and Villeneuve was just like, no.
No.
It was awful. It was really bad. It was really bad. Like the race was boring, and that made it so much worse. Not only was I sitting through a boring race, I was suffering through a boring race listening to Jack Villeneuve.
True,
If for any reason I end up in the F1 media space one day, Jack Villeneuve, I take it back. We could be great friends, but that was not either job. It was not the performance.
You know what actually got me through that race? I knew we were both suffering through it. I don't know if you can see it, but here, wait. There next to the helmet, I was building the McLaren F1 car.
Oh, I can't see it on my angle, but
wait.
Is it on the? Can the camera see it on the podcast?
I think it's too small.
Oh yeah.
I was building this guy.
I have that same one from a long time ago.
I actually finished it. Oh my god.
Mine's a little dusty because I've had it for a while, but it sits up there.
It's in the background, but like I don't think they can see it because it's tiny.
Yeah. No. Yeah. It's that was probably the most entertaining part of the race for you. I was just sat there suffering. I had nothing to do with my hands. I was sitting there. I'm just like, at this point, I'm on Twitter actively throughout the race. Now I'm just reading people's dumb comments, and I'm like, fuck, this is even worse. I might take Jack Villeneuve over these. But anyways, yeah, no, not a great race. Again, I should think before we switch fully away from the front of the front three, the podium. I think the only thing I will agree with on like what McLaren definitely could have done differently, 100%, is they definitely should have pit them differently. They shouldn't have been on the same strategy. Why were both of them on the same strategy also with Max? Like, you're just matching it. And that to me felt very weird when you could have at least had one of your two drivers counter him. I know they were probably a little worried about getting stuck behind cars and stuff because overtaking, again, was very difficult. But sometimes McLaren just feels like they're playing it way too safe. And this was another one of those examples. It's early in the year, and I hope as if this championship battle, again, becomes a Norris, Verstappen, whatever, or basically McLaren versus Verstappen, like it was last year, then I do want to see a bit more aggressiveness from them on strategies as the year goes on if it continues to be this close. Because right now, Max Verstappen is only 1 point behind Lando Norris in the championship. So things could be very interesting come Bahrain this upcoming weekend, which typically is a better race. And before we get into why I think Suzuka sucks, I want to talk a little bit more about placement. Isaac Hadjar scored 4 points for the RB team. Very impressive. Now, his teammate Liam Lawson did not have such a great race. Now, I'm going to cut him some slack here. They put him on a medium to soft one-stop, which was weird.
Yeah.
And I talked about this literally last episode, where I feel like with the RB strategy team, they're just always fucking somebody over. I don't know what that's about. They did it to Yuki. Beyond the front wing incident, Isaac Hadjar and Yuki were both kind of fucked in China from their weird strategy they decided to run. And Yuki got screwed over by strategy in Australia when he probably should have scored points after qualifying P5. So just a bit strange on that regard. But Hadjar did have a great race. Isaac Hadjar looks great.
I feel like with Lawson they were just waiting for a safety car.
They were like hoping,
and then they were like, they were hoping for that safety car, and then they were like in a window where we might as well go on the softs now. Just
weird to do I get when you're waiting for safety cars, maybe when like things are getting crazy, there's a lot of overtaking, there's rain. I know they thought maybe there'd be like a lap of rain at one point, but it just felt like not the race to do that. Now I don't think Lawson was going to bring home points or anything, or probably even overtake anybody, because nobody was overtaking anybody.
Yeah.
No. That's not a knock on Lawson. Nobody was overtaking anybody.
Okay. Yeah,
so I don't think that he was going to be on the track getting into the
overtake.
points or gaining any positions.
Yeah.
And or anything like that. But he wouldn't have lost positions probably at least as much had it not been for the weird strategy there. But just weird. Albon, Alex Albon was one of the most, like, again, the only other interesting thing that happened during that race was Alex Albon's radio, where
he was pissed off.
He just started going at the Williams team on the radio. And I don't know if you saw this, but after the race, I guess there was an interview, and they said, "We heard your comments on the radio," and his face went, and then he instantly starts backtracking. He's just like, "Oh, I mean, ultimately, I think we scored good points today, or whatever." Like, it just started like totally downplaying it.
The media training,
dude. You were like going off, and I was like, "Why are you so pissed?" I mean, I get it. Shit happens, but it wasn't like you were completely fucked at any point in the race, in my opinion. And then
he was just complaining about the shifts, about the upshifts, and it did sound kind of funky. I will say that. We'll give that to him. But I saw the interview, which I presume came afterwards, where Albon said the race was so boring that his radio calls were one of the big things.
One of the highlights.
It's like, ooh. Yeah. True though.
Maybe if more was going on, Albon, you could have got away with that. And nobody would have noticed. But unfortunately, they put you on blast on F1 TV. While we're on Williams, actually, wait. Before I go to that, I have one more really funny note to make about that. Because we're talking about the shifting issue and Albon being pissed. You know who wasn't as pissed as he should have been?
Who?
Isaac Hadjar got his balls crushed in Q1, bro.
Oh yeah.
At least according to what the reports are saying, it pretty much sounds like. Actually, no. In an interview, it was pretty much addressed directly. One of the F1 TV interviewers asked him and was like, "I'm a girl, so I wouldn't know what that feels like. But at one point in the car, do you know that there's an issue with like the setup?" And he was like, "By turn 3. Just so fucking miserable, dude. That has to suck. Ooh. And that brother still went out there, got out of Q1, and then got all the way to Q3.
So the thing is, right? I saw an interview with him. He said it was an issue during Q1, but it was fixed before the last Q1 run. So his quickest run was actually without getting
his balls crushed. Dude, that was
exactly
like
it must be
my
so
worst
painful,
nightmare. My worst nightmare.
Exactly, because like it can only slip out and then so. Okay.
What'd you just do? What did you just do?
So this is a new chair, right? And this side piece, which is like supposed to cover up the side.
Because I was just like nodding, and then I see you go, okay, and then I hear like whatever the fuck on the ground. Just lost a piece of your chair. That's funny.
I lost a piece of my chair.
Okay. Production team needs to get their shit together. We need better equipment.
Hey, I know, right? We need better equipment.
Fucking equipment. We have no production team. And if we did, we treat them as wonderful employees.
You can't pull this off now. We've been talking about a production team for we've had this joke in every single episode. You just blew the cover. Of course we have a production team.
Yeah, no, we have a big staff here at Pitlane Pals.
We do.
And we love and appreciate all of them.
All of them.
But yeah, no, that was a really funny. I could not go without saying that because we obviously did our preview before qualifying, and so I didn't get a chance to address the ball incident. But back to Williams, Carlos Sainz has struggled a little bit in the Williams so far.
He is. He's struggling
I
a lot,
know Albon has many years with the team, and I'm sure maybe they can use this year to make sure that the 2026 car is built a bit more around both drivers with both of their input and make it best for both of them. But right now, Albon looks like a fucking stud on the racetrack because we're talking Carlos Sainz was relatively competitive with Charles Leclerc, who many people consider to be a world championship caliber driver. Some people consider Carlos Sainz to be a world championship caliber driver. Jesus. And Albon's out there whooping him every weekend.
I think it's difficult, right?
It's early to say. Again, a lot of things are early to say.
It's still very early. I don't know. I swear I heard something about how someone said, I think it was actually the commentator whose name I actually just forgot again. Either way, but he said how Albon was never forced to actually perform because he's never had a good teammate.
Oh, Villeneuve? I think it was Villeneuve.
Villeneuve said that Albon
that was a stupid
never had
comment.
to perform. Which I could literally like throw my entire table over if
that was actually
that
I think the worst thing he said all race.
It could get straight out of F1
that might have
Twitter,
been that was qualifying actually when he said that, but that was an insane comment.
What a comment! Either way, I just think I remember as Sainz got in, this conversation started if Albon's actually a great driver or if he's just had a lot of luck with his teammates. And I feel like we have to cut the guy some slack. He had a lot of issues with Red Bull, but ever since coming into that Williams, he's been really, really, really quick. And I think 100%. He's a really, really quick driver. He's been showing his talent for a while now. And as Sainz came in, I had my own doubts. Like I'll say it. I was worried. I was worried about the guy. But by now, we know he's just insanely quick. And I'm sure the step down from a Ferrari and before that a McLaren to a Williams is harsh, but I feel like as high of a caliber as Carlos Sainz was presumed to be, I think you should be working that out pretty quickly.
I agree.
And I mean, we're still at the beginning of the season. It could literally be that he's got to figure out next race. So we'll see how it goes, but for now he's kind of struggling. It's true.
It is a bit concerning because if Williams could have Sainz perform right now, they would have two drivers in the points every week. Yeah, which I didn't predict, but we'll talk about that. That was a bit of a shot in the dark though. That wasn't like, that was just me kind of shoot or shoot.
Shoot. Oh boy, you shot.
Oh boy, I shot. And it's a foul ball.
Missed.
Anyways, we'll get to that later. Getting to a lot of things later. I'm pushing a lot of things off right now, but I got a lot on my mind. A lot of things I want to cover.
Where are you pushing it? All right, keep going.
A lot of things I want to cover. But yeah, no, just a bit concerning for sure, I think, because Williams definitely has a better car than last year. They've already outscored their entire 2024 season total. So if they could have two drivers consistently the points, obviously Sainz scored points, but that was gifted to him by Ferrari. We're not doing that. So yeah, Oliver Behrman, magnificent weekend. Just want to throw that out there. Just
Behrman and Antonelli.
Both yes. Rookies. Antonelli looks incredible. And I saw some people again trying to kind of discredit him, saying that he had so much more simulator time than all the other rookies. And a bunch of more testing experience in F1 because of his promise, but I don't think that discredits anything he's doing. Jack Doohan had a lot of laps because he paid for him, which is different, but still.
Jack Doohan had a ton of simulator time.
Yeah.
We saw how that turned out.
Yeah, so Antonelli is a generational talent. He's keeping up with Russell dramatically already out the gate, and Russell is somebody we consider to be a potential world champion one day with the right car. So Antonelli is going to be a star at this rate, and he is I'm gonna fact check specifically where he is in the standings right now. He is,
you mean production team is gonna fact check?
Yes, production team let me know just now that he's in P5. That's crazy. P5 is a rookie in the championship right off the bat with 30 points.
It's insane. It's actually absolutely insane.
Just stellar.
Incredible.
So yeah, incredible. Just want to those guys, Behrman and Antonelli.
killing
They
it.
have very bright futures. Very bright futures. Doing we could talk about while we're on the rookie topic. I don't even know if I really like. So
Like,
he had the stunt which we talked about last episode, and he's just not showing a ton of pace or anything. He just kind of looks like he's on the road. I hope the best for him, but I'm just not seeing a ton of promise from Doohan. He just kind of looks like he's just on the table, like he's just on the timetable.
You said this comparison a few podcasts ago. Doohan, I feel like, is kind of like when you go to a friend's house and they have this very old dog that's like
Did I say that about?
almost dead, but like
Did I say that about
said
Doohan?
this- Not about Doohan, but you said this, and I feel like it's
Oh
a
yeah,
very
I don't know
fitting,
what I don't remember what I
fitting
was
thing.
talking about when I said that, but I remember
like-
what you're talking about. You're like, "Aw, buddy, good job, good job. You got P15 today." Yeah, I don't actually don't remember what I was talking about when I said that, but I remember making that
Yeah,
that
exactly.
direct reference. So yes, Doohan is kind of like that old dog right now. I do hope he gets better. The Alpine obviously doesn't look great. And
No, it's not.
it's obviously hard when you have, I think, honestly a very underappreciated driver in Pierre Gasly as your teammate.
100%. Yeah.
Who is, when you have a bad car like that, but one of your teammate Gasly is probably going to fight for points a couple times during the year, several times during the year, and it's going to look bad on Doohan because he's not doing that and he's just sitting in the midfield. Obviously Alpine knows more than we do, so I'm not expecting him like to score points every weekend, but I'd like to see a couple performances of like showing something.
Being closer to Gasly would probably even do it. But
Oh my god, I wasn't even gonna bring this up.
Yeah.
But this is
Okay.
really funny actually. Alonso is in P11, right? He's not having a stellar race or anything. But his teammate was like 20 seconds off Gabriel Bortoleto.
Was he?
Lance Stroll was like a lap down. He was the only car I think that got lapped actually.
How?
And I saw a really funny tweet actually from somebody. I don't remember who it was, but it was a really, really funny tweet that said Lance Stroll is literally getting paid to go out there and sightsee in an F1 car. Like, what does he
Sightsee in
even
F1
do?
car is
What
crazy.
does he even do?
And I swear he wasn't doing too bad the races before that.
But like,
Did
It's
he
just like-
score points even?
production team is checking
Oh,
currently.
shit.
Production.
There was
No.
double production team checking.
Oh, he did score.
I swear,
10,
he
10
scored
points.
points. Yeah. He was
scored-
doing actually pretty well.
Wait,
and then
where-
in Japan, he
Wait,
just.
when did he score points? What the fuck? I just like spit
I
everywhere.
swear he was.
I'm just like
he
baffled.
was-
Wait. Oh, okay. Well, in China, he scored 2 points
There you go.
because of the disqualifications. In the sprint, he scored nothing, and then in Australia, what did he do in Australia? Oh, he scored 8 points. But I think it's important to note that was like the 2 races he scored points in had a lot of DNFs.
Yeah.
So I'm not gonna go out there and saying
but
he's like cooking.
he wasn't. No. I know, but he wasn't doing P20 sightseeing.
But dude, like, what does he do? And like, he has not gotten any better for years.
The gap
Anybody
between
else-
Alonso and him has just been consistently shit.
Anybody else would be out of F1 by now. But his daddy, Lawrence Stroll, owns the team, and he won't go anywhere. I had to point that out because I don't even know what he was doing during the race. Like, do you get bored? Do you fall asleep behind the wheel? Like,
I mean, with the G forces,
I'm
it would
kidding.
Be very, very difficult.
I'm
sleep.
kidding.
No, I know you're kidding, pal. I'm just saying. I think he was probably trying his hardest, and honestly, I feel like if I were running in P20, right, I see the field like flowing away. I just go my pace. Like, I mean, I feel like I wouldn't give up, but like I just try and hit my apexes, try and get my racing line right,
Get a little practice in for next year.
have a little chit chat with the mechanic.
Yeah. So you see the new episode of the show we watch? You catch the game last night?
I wonder
see my
what the
tennis match?
Pitlanepals are going to talk about this.
Yeah, dude. Just had to point that out. And then the last thing we will obviously talk about is Yuki Tsunoda's debut in the Red Bull. Not
too great.
Not great, but I don't think it's as abysmal as people are making it sound. Obviously, he did get out qualified by Liam Lawson. There's obviously, as you pointed out, and I never disagreed, but you very much told me it was going to go this way because that car is that bad, and I had a little bit of hope. I had a sliver of hope that it wouldn't be detrimental. For what it's worth, I don't think they made the wrong choice. Yuki Tsunoda had basically 3 hours of practice time in the Red Bull, which I want to note.
And sim. He did say that the car feels pretty okay in the sim.
But on the actual track, basically 3 hours of track time. Not really, though, because the sessions kept getting red flagged, and he couldn't get probably all of his runs in and everything. It looked, everything considered, right? He didn't have a ton of time. And that clearly, again, as we've proven time and time again, is a very difficult car to drive. Already beat Liam Lawson's best performance of the year. And I don't think it was abysmal. Obviously, he got out qualified by Lawson, but I do think it's important to note that Yuki was still outperforming what Lawson did this weekend in qualifying. Yuki Tsunoda qualified P5 in Australia in that Red Racing Bull. You know what I mean? And so again, I know obviously it's a big change for Lawson. I know he's had his confidence hit, and I'm not even saying that I'm not saying Lawson's not a good driver. I just do think currently, I think they made the right choice. Because I think Yuki maybe can actually learn a bit easier. Lawson definitely had a bigger gap to learn on than I think Yuki's going to have. If he's going to learn the car, if one of them was going to learn the car, Yuki has a better chance of doing so because he's already beaten Lawson's best performance. And of course, this is Yuki's home race. He has a lot of experience on the track, all these things. But given that the car's the issue, I think both of these drivers are good. These are both good drivers. I just think one is a little more experienced. Well, actually, pretty significantly more experienced, and been a bit better. And did I think prove, at least to me, that they made the right choice probably. Now you can argue maybe they shouldn't have done that to Lawson because if they were just going to go for P12, but we'll see how the rest of the season plays out. But still, I don't think it could have been worse. It could have been worse.
I feel like you can't really discredit Tsunoda just yet.
Yeah.
And I know I've been very pessimistic about this Red Bull situation, but I will say I have to cut the guy some slack. He was closer to Verstappen than I would have thought he would be.
And he looked great in all the practice sessions. He just had a bad qualifying
he looked great
lap.
In the practice sessions. He was doing okay in qualifying before Q1 and Q2 happened. But I mean, he was closer in the practices than Lawson was.
Yeah.
So
and
I remember as I saw the results of the practice sessions, I was like, "Oh my, he might actually do this."
I was optimistic.
He might actually do this. He might actually be able to keep up with Max.
Yeah, and I think
we'll see.
On a track that's so hard to overtake on, like we're going to talk about here shortly. That qualifying lap was detrimental, and qualifying is very fine margins this year. I mean, these cars are as close as they've been in a very, very long time.
Extremely close.
So I do think with that being taken into, obviously you need to see better performances out of him in qualifying, but maybe at some races where he can make his way up the field, I could see him doing that.
100%. I mean, the commentators actually even said you need 0.3 of pace advantage to overtake in Suzuka. Yeah. And I mean, okay, fresh tires and used tires 100%, but if you're on the same tires, if you've got dirty air coming from the front on the mid-high speed corners,
it's impossible.
Ain't no way you're getting 0.3.
I mean, even the McLaren that was the fastest car couldn't get past with the Red Bull. So,
it's no way.
Tricky race. I think again the qualifying was concerning, but when it comes to race pace, I wasn't that concerned. And I don't think, all things considered, I mean, he's basically finishing where he was in the Racing Bulls last year, which was that P10 to P12 range, right? If he's and Lawson was finishing below that, so at least this is an improvement out of that second Red Bull seat. But we'll have to see how the season goes on, and maybe Lawson will kill it in the Racing Bull. But he did kind of get whooped by Hadjar this weekend, outside of even the strategy mistake. But Hadjar just looks really good, so I don't even. Maybe Hadjar's the solution. Who knows? But that's like a year down the line. We'll talk about that probably. So F1, love the sport, but definitely has a bit of a problem right now.
Okay.
Has a bit of a problem right now. Suzuka was one of the most boring races I've watched in a very long time, and maybe ever. But that's a track that most drivers cite as their favorite, a track that has historical significance, produced great racing years and years and years ago. But these tracks, such as Suzuka and Spain and Barcelona, or sorry, not Barcelona, and Belgium. I just said Spain and Barcelona. That's the same fucking place. Spain and Belgium. I was thinking bees.
Such an American.
I know my cities. Madrid and Barcelona are both in Spain. Fuck you. Anyways, I just meant because I was thinking about bees and I got torn up because
it's okay. You're okay. I'm good.
The Belgian Grand Prix, and a lot of these tracks were built when cars were significantly smaller and they didn't produce as much dirty air and could produce more racing there. But right now what seems to be the problem is all the tracks that are probably honestly the best tracks to have, such as Suzuka is a beautiful circuit, is the worst recipe for racing with these current regulations and the way the cars have been for several years, because they produce so much dirty air. And on a track like that where you only have one DRS zone, if there's not two DRS zones on a track, you're not going to get enough overtaking. It's just...
Ain't no way.
It's this reoccurring issue. Every year we talk about it over and over again. What's the issue with the cars? And they are making them smaller in 2026, but they are getting rid of DRS, which I think is a big risk because we haven't seen the dirty air problem solved yet. So we're going to remove DRS already? Like, maybe we should make sure that what we're doing to remove dirty air is working first. And I know they're adding this like power button that you can press, whatever. It's like kind of like the ERS system, but like different.
But that's not the solution. But at the same time, they're kind of stuck because like it's just the current cars, and you can't really go back on technical development. I mean, these cars punch airs, like they punch holes in the air. They're insane cars, incredible, but just wheel-to-wheel racing. The second you get behind them, your tires are going to overheat.
Yeah.
Can't really follow up.
Yeah. And it's like, at what point do we start maybe prioritizing just the quality of racing over being the most elite cars on the planet? I mean...
Well, but that's what F1 is.
I know. But I think there's a way to do it by just restricting how big they can be again and keep it to a certain... And then like let them do everything else. I just think if they were significantly smaller, a lot of problems would be solved.
I don't know. I'm sure they're gonna try to find a way. I mean, because it matters, and it's not like, I mean, even the drivers are saying this was a pretty boring race, so that means something, and they were driving, so it's.
Yeah, it's just. I mean, obviously they know it's boring, but it's been an issue, and I was watching a podcast clip from the P1 with Matt and Tommy guys, and they were like looking at the calendar. There's just a lot of circuits though that coming up we're gonna be like, is this track great for overtaking? And it just seems like qualifying is gonna be the big deal. I mean, we have Bahrain and Saudi, which I think will produce good racing. Miami,
for sure.
No, and then
No.
Imola. It's too small. Imola's too small to produce good racing. Monaco, nah, that's not happening. So
ain't happening.
Spain has not produced good racing, even when they removed the chicane at the back.
And it's not going to.
It's not going to. Canada's sometimes okay because they have those back-to-back DRS zones, but still it's a little tight and you can kind of get stuck behind for too long. Belgium hasn't even produced great racing lately. And they said this on the clip too, that it looks like it should on paper, but it just hasn't.
Yeah.
It's just, and the list goes on. The Netherlands, Monza started to have issues because they all just bring these fucking straight line speed wings, and then everybody's just going quick, and then there's no overtaking.
Yeah. I mean, it's what I said before. The margin that you have to be quicker, being around the 3/10 mark, at the current pace and at the current gaps between the cars is just unrealistic in a way.
Mm-hmm.
It's just it's not gonna happen. It's not like they're gonna magically find 3/10 out of nowhere, and they're gonna be way quicker. I mean, these are the best drivers in the world, but Stroll and I mean, they're as quick as it gets. So it's
the best drivers in the world, but Stroll. Quote that.
Preach.
He's sightseeing out there.
Should we get into it?
Yes, the predictions.
Do you want to like defend yourself, or do you want to like fend for
I've had the same thing happen 2 weeks in a row where it's like my predictions weren't abysmal. Like, it's not like the opposite thing happened, or that it was like I was a few places off in a couple regards. Like,
so close yet
so
so
close.
far.
Yes. So my first prediction was that Yuki Tsunoda was going to finish in the points. Originally, what's actually annoying is I was just going to say he was going to beat Lawson. That did happen.
Yeah, and that would have been right.
I felt like that was too easy. It's a Red Bull. I didn't want to do that. So I took that he was going to score points. I had confidence. Practice sessions, he looked great. Qualified P15 right behind Liam Lawson. And then did not score any points in the race because Suzuka was not great for overtaking. And then my second prediction was that the Williams drivers would not score points. Part of this was because Carlos Sainz looked like he was struggling quite a bit, and Albon wasn't on like flying pace. Like, sometimes you're just like, whoa, he's fucking absolutely soaring, but he wasn't soaring this weekend. So I thought maybe just with some race stuff that he would maybe fall just outside of the points or something. It was a bit of a shot in the dark. I was just kind of like, you know what? Gut feeling, but never trusted my gut again. Did not happen. And my third and final race prediction was that the Ferrari boys would outscore the Mercedes boys this weekend. And they tied. And I'm not going to count that because they have to outscore. I said outscore, but they tied.
At least she even texted you.
I know.
At least she texted
tried
you,
to give
and
it
I
the
was
benefit
like,
of the doubt.
I was like, okay, listen, I cut these videos in a very particular way that already makes us look like a bunch of idiots, which is fine. I mean, it's fun.
It's all part of the fun.
But like, I'm trying here,
Yeah.
I'm trying to be nice. I'm not trying to make it look like you're a Drive to Survive fan.
No, it's all part of the fun. It's all right. It's all right. But yeah, no. Just
so for my predictions,
rough.
Oh yeah.
No, I was gonna say a bit rough.
Yeah. I actually predicted that Lawson is gonna qualify Tsunoda, and oh boy, was that a shocker! We were watching it together. It was insane. It was insane, and then we were both shocked that I got that one right. I wasn't expecting it myself to get it right. I just thought you're gonna get through it, mate. You're gonna be okay, right? You're okay. You kind of seem
that
like
one. That was the one I didn't want you to get right. That was like the one.
Exactly that one. Any other one would have been great, but that one was just, we were in shock for at least 20 minutes, and you just kept on saying, I can't believe you got that one right. Yeah, either way. Next one I got wrong. Don't you worry. I predicted that Lawson was going to be getting some points. I just thought, he didn't look too bad in the practices. Thought if he finds the pace, he might do it. Didn't do it. It's the way it is. It's the way it is. It could have worked out. Didn't work out. It's fine. Happens. And lastly, I believe I predicted that Russell was going to be on the podium. No. Yeah. He was pretty good the other races, so I just thought
No, he
might as
was.
well put that in there.
Yeah. No, Russell's been good. Like, no discredit to Russell. I'm not like
Yeah, he's been pretty quick, and I thought, with 2 loss predictions, I have to mix it up somehow and not make it too safe. So I thought that was the best bet.
Had we known Suzuka was going to be such a snooze fest, maybe we would have played our predictions a little differently.
Yeah.
Because if
Bahrain's going to be interesting. So
Bahrain should be decent. I'm actually looking forward to Bahrain. Because we actually might get some overtakes on the track.
Oh my God! Imagine.
Please. Oh, what is my life? An overtake. Oh boy. Yeah, no, I'm looking forward to Bahrain. I actually really like that circuit, and
me too.
We're not having it as the season opener, but
true.
I'm looking forward to it. And I also like Saudi, which is the last race on the triple header. Just a fun track to watch. The wall to wall. It's like the wall to wall aspect of Monaco, but with actually good racing and like not slow. So it's great. But anyways, I think we're all done here. Thank you all so much once again for listening to this episode of the Pitlane Pals podcast. Make sure you follow us on Spotify, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, all the places. And we'll see you towards the end of this week for the Bahrain Grand Prix preview. Thank you and goodbye.
Goodbye.